Hello and welcome. I'd like to share with you the work I completed for the middle third of Inktober. The day 11 prompt was Wander, and I tried a few ideas before I settled on using windowswap.com. It's a pretty cool website. You just click the button and it shows you a window view from somewhere in the world. So I decided to be an armchair traveler for this one and wander around the world. I first blocked in some large shapes using diluted black India ink, and then I went in with some color, and then finally later some details using a fountain pen. The next prompt was spicy, and I had a ridiculous amount of fun thinking up the spiciest cat gossip I could. Psst, did you hear that Clementine spent the night hopped up on catnip at Mr. Biscuit's scratching post? Meow! Tell me everything. The next prompt was rise. Eagle-eyed viewers might notice that this little robot was one of my brainstormed pictures for Wander, and it's silly and simple, but for whatever reason, I couldn't get that little robot out of my mind. For the next prompt, castle, I sketched a chess piece that my dad had made out of porcelain many years ago. The next prompt was Dagger, and I chose a beloved antique knife and fork set that we have with a carved wooden handle for my reference for Dagger. I used this hand-mixed sepia tone many times throughout Inktober. I really ended up loving it. If you're enjoying this video, please give it a like, please subscribe, please comment on what your favorite illustration is from these sessions of Inktober. I get so much motivation whenever I get a little feedback, so I really appreciate it. I added the teeniest hint of silver to the blade. I'm not sure if that really shows up on camera. And then I zhuzhed it up a little bit in Photoshop by giving it a textured background and a shadow. The next two prompts were Angel and Demon, and I cooked up a little scheme to make them part of one illustration. I adored these ones. These and maybe the Spicy Cat Gossip were my favorites from these sessions. I put down a pretty dark gray circle, and then I used lighter and lighter shades of gray to put in the details for my angel, and I kept her to the right side of the circle, and you'll see later how that's part of the demon design. So here's a look at my finished angel, which I posted on her own on Instagram before tackling the demon prompt the next day. I used tracing paper to get the basic size and shape of my angel before sketching up my demon, and it took a few tries to get the sizing the way I wanted. I wanted his wings and tail to slightly break out of the size of the circle, and then I transferred the basic sketch onto my sketchbook page using transfer paper and started with the same medium gray tone and then putting in details of black and white and gray. So I'm curious, do you like the angel in the upright position or the demon in the upright position? And what might that say about you? The next prompt was saddle, and I broke out some of the faux leather that I had made recently. I love this faux leather, but it wasn't exactly a good surface to be trying to put a lot of detail on. When I was a kid, one of my most favorite Christmas presents ever was a Tandy leather carving kit, and that's what I was trying to do here, is put in some designs of carved leather that you can see on very beautiful, intricate saddles. It was fun to try, but like I said, it was pretty hard to get any kind of detail on the faux leather surface. I cut out some little faux straps from my faux leather, and if you know me, you know I love any kind of interactive element. I was thrilled to use these little brads to attach the straps because I once needed one brad, so naturally I bought a bag of 500 pieces. That's how those things go sometimes. Here's my finished faux leather saddle and a look at it in my sketchbook spread. If you ever need to think up an illustration for the prompt, Plump, whatever you do, do not think of the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man.
It just popped in there.
The next prompt was Frost, And I really liked my idea for this one. I don't think it really came through in the finished illustration, but my idea was to try to capture the look of one of those old freezers. If you're of a certain age, you may remember that freezers needed to be defrosted, or the frost would eventually invade from the edges, making the freezer smaller and smaller and smaller until a tiny little amount of space for a frozen dinner might be left. So I imagined a miserable man whose wife eventually left him and he was helpless on his own until he couldn't even access a frozen dinner anymore. I love the look here of the patterns that were made in the paint. So I applied plastic wrap to wet paint and let it mainly dry. I was a little impatient and I love the patterns that were made, although it doesn't really look like a freezer that has consumed the last frozen TV dinner. I want to thank you so much for watching. I've been enjoying Inktober this year, but it has had its ups and downs in terms of motivation and inspiration and outcomes. But, you know, sometimes when Inktober closes a door, it opens a window.